Okay, out of the oven. This is the cranberry apple pie with crunch topping. I'm going to cut into it, show you what it looks like, but man, this pie is amazing. Hi, it's Sarah. Today, this is the pie that you are going to want to make for Thanksgiving or Christmas or both, because this pie is one of my top pies that I've ever made, and I am not kidding, and I bake a lot. So this is my cranberry apple pie with crunch topping. And I can't even tell you, this pie is demolished and gone when it's made. And I absolutely love the pie. I hesitate to make the pie because I just want to eat the whole entire thing. So I'm going to walk you through this step by step. It's really not a super hard pie to make, and there's a couple of variations. If you don't like something that's in this pie, you can do a couple of variations to make it work. So the first thing you need to do is preheat your oven to 375. And you can make this the morning of Thanksgiving or the night before, but you need to bake it right when you get it mixed together. But you can let it sit overnight if you're short on oven space on Thanksgiving, like a lot of people are. So the first thing you need is 4 apples. So I am using Honeycrisp, which is an apple native to Minnesota. My favorite apple, favorite apple. But you can use Granny Smith if you don't have access to the Honeycrisp. I don't peel my apples. A lot of people don't like that. So if you want to peel your apples, you can peel them. These are washed. I just prefer to leave the peels on. I think that's just how I've always done it, and they just don't bother me. So I don't peel them. If you want to peel them, you sure can. Just because I get a lot of people that will complain that I didn't peel the apples, so I'm explaining why. So you need your nice glass pan. So we want to cut these apples rather thin. So like that. That's how you want them. Okay. And we're going to do all 4 apples like that. And while I hate when people have to sit while I'm cutting apples because they're a little time consuming. And then I also take some of the apples and I'll cut them so they're not all long. I'll cut them in half like that. So you get kind of a variety of bigger ones and smaller ones. Now I believe this apple was formulated at the University of Minnesota, and these actually, I called it what did I call this apple? They're Sweet Tangos. I said the wrong apple name at the beginning. So Sweet Tango, if I didn't say Sweet Tango, I don't know how to go back and fix it. I'm not very good at video editing, so you kind of get what you get. Anyway, these apples are not available yet to anybody but commercial growers, but the second that they are available, I will have some of these apple trees planted on our property because they're just the best apple. Anyway, kudos to the University of Minnesota for creating such a great apple. Okay, so anyway, going back to the pie. I'm going to make sure my microphone's on. I've had so much trouble with this microphone. Yep, it's on. I bought the cheaper one thinking that it would help me out, and I've had 3 or 4 videos where it quit working halfway through the video and then there's no sound at all. So I don't know if it really saved me any money or not, to be honest with you, to go a little bit cheaper. Okay, 2 more apples to go. So this can be made with frozen or fresh cranberries. So if you're kind of wondering, so if you need to buy frozen or you want to make this when these apples, when cranberries are not in season, you sure can. Cranberries are in season right now. Cranberries are one of my favorite berries. You'll actually find 3 or 4 cranberry recipes just recently on my website and in my videos because I spend a lot of time making things with cranberries. And when you put apples and cranberries together, I mean, there's just something about the taste of those two together with a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg. And this one has a crumble topping. I mean, like, it's crazy. Okay, 1 more apple, and then we'll continue to the next step. And these are pretty big size apples, so Sorry if you hear a dog snoring in the background. I got old Granny's back there, snoozing away. Probably can't see her. Nope, not through the flour. It's deer hunting opener today. And so we cannot walk outside or walk in the woods. So we're trapped pretty much in the house because the woods are full of people. Actually, it's kind of funny because the deer come to our backyard now. And I don't let anybody hunt back here. My husband hunts in a different area because they're kind of like my pets, the deer. So they're sitting in our they wait in our backyard until hunting season's over. Okay, so we've got the apples there, and then we are going to take 1.5 cups of fresh or frozen cranberries. So I've got fresh, and I'm gonna go grab my measuring for 1.5 cups. Be right back. These cranberries roll all over the place, so I gotta be careful. So 1.5 cups. So that's 1. And like I said, this pie, if I could sell this pie, and actually I do have a cottage food license, so I could sell the pies, but you'd have to come pick them up. And it'd be quite the hike to Minnesota, in the northern Minnesota. You probably wouldn't like it. All right, and now over the top of that, we are going to add 1 cup of sugar over the top of our apple and cranberry mixture. We should make some potpourri. That sounds good too. So 1 cup of sugar. So pour that around. Two tablespoons of flour. And then we're going to let this sit while we get the crumb topping ready. 2 tablespoons of flour. We're going to mix this up, so don't worry. Cornstarch. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Piling everything over by the sink. 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Then we're going to take a splash of lemon juice. Shut that up. We're just going to do a splash. That kind of keeps the apples from turning brown. Okay, and then nutmeg. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Yum. I love anything with nutmeg and almond. Oh my gosh, everything almond lately has been doing amazing things to my nose. Okay, mix that up so everything is kind of coated. Oh my, I think cranberries are like one of my favorite berries. Oh my gosh, we have 1 cranberry farm in Minnesota. I looked it up, and it's actually a young family that bought this cranberry farm. Most of the cranberries are like Wisconsin, Michigan. And I would really like to tour it just because I think that cranberry farms are just the coolest things ever. We don't live in a climate where we could do that where we're at, but I'll have to find out where that is. But there's 1 in Minnesota, 1 only cranberry farm. Okay, set that off to the side. Okay, now I'm using a store-bought crust. And if you don't want to use a store-bought crust, you can use your own crust. If you can find a ginger snap crust, that's the best. I could not find one. So I'm using regular crust. Always have used regular crust. I'm using a glass pie plate. And I am not spraying it or flouring it. I had someone ask me why I don't do that, because these pre-made crusts already have some butter in them, and so I never have had trouble with anything sticking. Okay, so put the pre-made pie crust in the pie, and I'm using a pretty deep dish pie crust here, or not pie crust. This is a Pyrex one. I'll link it. It's the deeper dish one, so nothing comes flying out of the top and wrecks the bottom of your oven, and then you have a disastrous mess. Okay, so now take our beautiful apple mixture, pour it in. And this is going to be a heaping pie, I can tell you that. This is a very full pie. My gosh, it's just beautiful. Look at that. Okay, I am going to try an apple because I can't resist that nutmeg on there. So good. Okay, press that down like that. So we want it pressed down because we gotta get the topping on there still, and it's already pretty full. Okay, look at that. Oh my gosh, the pie is just so pretty without even the topping on it. Okay, I'm gonna set that off to the side because now we're gonna make the topping. So I'm gonna take my other Pyrex bowl, and actually this is the new vintage style Pyrex bowl. They have lids that come with them? They're awesome. I've linked them, and several people have bought them and absolutely loved them from my recommendation. So, I'm going to recommend that, and my Tavolo jar scraper spatulas. They're just amazing. I can't even explain them. These are a good stocking stuffer. All right, oatmeal. 3/4 cup of oatmeal. This is a crunch topping oatmeal. Okay, so this is the optional part. Chopped pecans. Now I put them in. If you have a family that does not like nuts, you don't have to put them in. It's a 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. They just add to the top, but you don't have to add them. If you have somebody that doesn't like nuts in your family, you can definitely get by without the pecans. A 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar. I'm gonna go grab my 1/3 cup. Be right back. And stick around because my next recipe with cranberries is a cranberry chicken thigh bake. So good. I say that a lot. So good. 1/3 cup of flour. So back to the flour. Okay, now we're going to add cinnamon, which I forgot to grab. Cinnamon, we need a 1/2 teaspoon. I'll probably make this pie for Thanksgiving again, but my husband's going to love this one. It's one of his favorites. Okay, we need 6 tablespoons of butter. So we got our butter here. I'm going to slightly melt it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Has anybody bought butter lately too at the grocery store? Butter has really gotten very expensive. I think I'm paying $3.99 a pound, which is almost $1 a stick for butter. Okay, I'm going to melt this in the microwave. Soften it in the microwave for 20 seconds. Okay, while that's going, I'm going to use a metal spoon for this. So you want to mix this up a little bit. If you have any big chunks of the flour or sugar, you want to make sure you get those so they're not chunky. Okay, I'm going to grab the butter. Okay, pour that into here. Use your jar scraper to scrape the sides of that. All right, mix that in to the crumb topping. Okay, so now that we've done that, we take our pie back again. Doesn't that look so good? Like, look at that yummy pie. Oh my gosh. Okay, pour the crumble topping over the top. I need to get it over the top camera view because this is definitely the pie to make. Okay, press that into the crust. You want to use it all. Okay, now you're gonna need to use your fingers because you want to get that pressed down over the whole pie. So you kind of gotta, because it's kind of mounded, this will go down just a little bit, but it is a very full pie. Okay. All right, so I've got the topping here. Okay, so now that is the pie right there. So now we are going to bake it at 375 for 40 to 45 minutes. Because this one leaks sometimes because it's a full pie, I'm going to put a cookie sheet underneath it, like not on the rack, but underneath it to catch anything if it does that. So I'm going to put it in the oven 45 minutes and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when it comes out.